coming out in the rain.
I was surprised that we have this many people out. Usually when we get a rainstorm like this, so everybody must be interested in bus service. So we're going to turn it over to Karen here in just a little bit. I want to just go around the room, see if there's any questions or any concerns with anybody. Anybody has nothing exciting going on right at this moment. We've got Karen here talking about transportation tonight. Next month we're going to have the two new principals from Deepwood Elementary and Chisholm Trail here to talk about what's going on at the school and how we can help and support them. Still working on March's class. We've had a request to have one of our, I don't know if a meeting or just have like a CPR training, have the police or fire come and do a CPR training. So we're thinking about maybe doing that one time. We've had 2 or 3 people express interest in that. So we'll probably hopefully somewhere down the road this year, get that going. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now that were big issues that we got going on. Well, we have our contributions that we'll be presenting to Deepwood Elementary and Chisholm Trail at the meeting next month of $1,000 each. The contributions that you guys give to us is what obviously everything goes right back out to support the community. So those are two big contributions that we'll hand out next month at that meeting. Two new principals, they probably don't even know we do that yet. So it'll be a nice little surprise for them. But any questions that I can help with? Yes?
This is just nosy.
That's what we're here for, we're nosy.
There is a building right at the corner of I-35 and, the feeder road and McNeil Road, okay? It used to be, I think, like for Nashville Copus or something. It has a green roof on it, okay? And the address is 600. I don't know if it's 600 I-35.
Okay, McNeil and 35.
Yes.
Which corner? Oh, you're talking about Brath Construction. The old Brath Construction building.
Yeah, well, what goes on there, we see lots of cars. There are lots of cars for a single thing. What are they doing?
I don't know if they've turned it into a meeting place of some type. I haven't looked recently. Last I saw it was for sale, but I haven't come down that road much recently. So.
The only thing that's there is just the address, 600, and there's nothing, it doesn't say what kind of business is there or anything like that.
I'll have to investigate that.
Yeah.
And find out what that is.
I think like a small building and lots of cars.
It could be an upstart church renting it out or something like that.
I was thinking maybe a call center or something. There's so many cars.
Yeah, it's not that big of a building, I used to do business with Brath when I was in the roofing business, and they shut their business down. They both retired and shut it down, and it sat there for sale for a while, so I'll have to check it and see. Find out what it is.
Just nosy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Chisholm Trail School, the track, the sidewalk, they put up some kind of a thing, gas pipeline. Could they have put that any closer to the street for cars to hit? Well, what is it? Why, it's not like they put a new pipeline in, it's just
I'll have to
always...
investigate it. Somebody had sent me something about something else.
Chisholm Trail. I've got it on my notes. I don't remember what it was, like not a cell tower or something electronic that they were putting up over there, but I don't know. I'll have to check that out, Kirby, and see. I know they were doing a bunch of work over there, and they did. If you remember, they shut the road down, and they were doing a bunch of drainage work and stuff. So we'll have to find out and see what's going on there. Okay. Anybody else? No, nobody nosy, curious about anything going on? Yes, sir.
What's the latest on getting the streets repaved?
I was waiting for that one. Well, I haven't made my call to Gary Hutter yet. I'll be calling Gary in the next couple of days, next few days to hook up with him. I haven't been to many meetings yet where I can run into him, but I will run into him sometime in the next 2 or 3 days and discuss that. I know it was supposed to be in the budget at some point, we just didn't know when. So if you guys remember, we had 3 or 4 of our streets paved, and the rest of them are poo-poo. So we're working on getting that done. We'll keep the heat on them and see if we can get that done pretty quick. Yes, sir.
Does that include maybe the intersection of 620 and Deepwood? Deepwood? Because that's
Okay,
just terrible.
intersection of 620 and Deepwood is a different animal, so.
So, all right, so let me give you a little bit of update on that part of it. She's here to talk about buses, but I can talk about...
Yeah, I can also give a little bit of info on that too. The best way to stay up to date on any of the street repaving information, if you get on this, excuse me, I'm dealing with Cedar, I'm sure like a lot of y'all maybe, get on the city's website for transportation department, transportation projects. And on there is a street maintenance program link. And that information is kept up to date with the latest projects that are on, that are happening. And there's links to email the folks directly who are managing those projects. And they'll be able to tell you like a schedule, so if we have one upcoming and what neighborhoods and streets. And the ones that are current, there's maps up there that show where all of that activity is happening.
Yeah, our situation with our neighborhood has been just gathering funding, and I've been pushing both city manager and Gary Hutter to help us out with that, and I think we're getting close. But as far as the Deepwood goes, so they did Wyoming Springs, everything they did from Wyoming Springs out, okay? And then they just opened the Creekview extension. By the way, have any of y'all tried that out? That is cool. I made it from 79 and 35 over to the HEB in 7 minutes. So it is really great. They're going to be continuing that project from Deepwood down to Wyoming Springs. It's TxDOT. And then they're already acquiring the right-of-way and working on utilities and so forth for that nightmare that's coming down the road for us for the 620, 35 railroad tracks and all that. That whole section of 620 is going to be a mess for about 3 years, huh?
Well, see, now you have Creek Bend.
Yeah, we got Creek Bend, we can go around the other way now. But that project is already, it's underway, you just don't see anything going on. The city's already bought all those buildings up there that used to,
The Commons.
the Commons, what was the restaurant that used to be up there that's Gumbo's, where Gumbo's used to be? And the city already owns all of that, and they're terminating the leases of the people that are in there to move out, so, because they're going to have to take some of those down to acquire the right-of-way for there's going to be a huge circle up in the air, access roads on the side, raised lanes coming down past the high school, so taking you over Lake Creek, so it's a big, big project, and that they've been working on for about 20 years now, so that's...
Well, I thought that the start date was like 2019.
Well,
Could be, there's a lot of groundwork to go between now and then.
I was just surprised how far before they broke ground.
Well, and all the other thing TxDOT does is they'll tell you 2019, it might be earlier.
Okay.
what they stopped doing is saying 2017 and have it be 2019. So they learned their lesson.
They do it the other way
Because
now.
they just started clearing on 620, other side of Deepwood.
Yeah, that part of it's all going on now,
Right.
so.
All right, well, I'm going to turn it over to Karen, and you guys have your packets. She had some great big boards in here, but I didn't want her to worry about bringing them in the rain and stuff. We can probably follow along with these, so, and you've got your comment sheets there, so I'll turn it loose to her, and we'll see what we can find out.
All right. Well, as Mike said, my name's Karen Lee. I'm the transit coordinator. I work under Gary Hutter with the Transportation Department. And I have been working on transit for a while. A couple years ago, I was out here in front of y'all seeking feedback on the master plan. Well, we completed that master plan, and it was presented to council in November of 2015. And they were impressed that we could start a public bus service for not nearly as much money as they thought they were looking at to have bus service. So my directive was to vet out the routes and the cost and make sure that what was in the plan was accurate. That was done. A budget request was put in for this current fiscal year, and council approved the budget for us to move forward with implementing fixed route service. So before I can do that, the federal government says I have to come out to the public and talk to everybody, present the routes, the fares, and the information on the ADA paratransit service. All of that information is in your packet. And I'm planning on just kind of going through it. If y'all have a question, please feel free to stop me. The form that Mike gave y'all for the feedback, if you want to fill it out now and give it to me, great. If you want to wait and do it later and then email it or fax it back to me, that's totally fine too. I noticed I left my phone number off of there. Let me give that to y'all. It's 512-218-70, oh geez, 44. I mix up that one with the main transportation number too, so. 512-218, 7040, yes.
Wait, 40.
Hold on. See, now y'all are confusing me. 7044. There we go. 7044.
That makes sense.
All right, so the first map that you see in your packet is just a picture of the overall system. Down on the southern end of that, the red line that you see going across this way is the Metro Rail route. And then in the insert there is a continuation of the Metro Rail route and the continuation of the gold route you see to the left. That goes into downtown Austin. All right, so on the next page, you'll see the Round Rock Howard Station, Route 50. This particular route will serve the higher education campuses off of University Boulevard. It'll serve the outlet malls. It'll go down Sunrise Drive to serve those neighborhoods in that area. It'll make a stop at that big HEB Plus. It makes a stop over by Bluebonnet Trails MHMR facility. Then it goes downtown to access the library, City Hall, all of our new restaurants and things to do in downtown. The route will also stop at the Transit Center. It's right there at 300 West Baghdad. All of our routes will connect at the Transit Center. So no matter where you're at or where you're going, you can get to any of the routes at that center. There is a big parking garage there with approximately 100 parking spots. So that can be utilized by anybody wishing to hop on the bus if you want to take it down to the Metro Rail. So that one will continue for a little bit there on South Mays. It'll cross over and hit that La Frontera Shopping Center along Hester's Crossing and La Frontera Sundance Parkway. It'll continue south all the way to the to the Howard Station. That is Capital Metro's Metro Rail Station. This route is slated to operate Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. with the buses running every hour.
And when will they start, Karen?
We are looking at the service will start this summer. I do not have a definite date yet. I'm working out a few details. My guess it will be later in the summer, more than likely before the next school year starts.
And are the red circles the stops that it will make?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it.
So how long would it take to go from like the transit spot downtown to the Howard Station? That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stops maybe?
Yeah, so let's see, the whole route in itself takes approximately 30 minutes, so from there maybe 15.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Another thing that I'll have before the service starts, I'll have an actual scheduled book that we can pass out for those of us that still like paper. And it'll have the specific times at each individual stop, so you will know exactly when the bus will be there. All of this data will also be pushed out to Google Transit. So for those of us that like to use our smartphones and use Google Maps, you'll be able to pull it up on Google Maps and it will tell you when the bus will be there and show you how you can connect. Capital Metro's information is also on Google Transit, so if you do plan on going into the Austin area utilizing this route, you'll also be able to see what times the next the next train comes. And there's also a bus at that station that would take you over to Tech Ridge, so if you wanted to go down into that area over there.
Karen,
Yes, ma'am. No, you're fine.
I'm hosting an international student, so I'm really interested in the bus route. So I'm assuming that they will have their ACC, they can buy their transit tickets and ride the same as they do on the Metro and the other buses? And all?
Yes, so the city is currently working out an agreement with Capital Metro. As y'all may or may not know, the city of Round Rock is a direct recipient of federal funds. We're a government entity. Capital Metro is considered a government entity, so we can contract with each other without having to go out for bid. And one of the things we're looking at is the ACC Green Pass program. So what we would do is, we won't get into all the complications, but yes, we are looking at having that same I can't even pronounce it, so I'm not going to try. Thank you. So that ACC students will enjoy the same benefits on our system as they do on the Austin system. And yes, and I'll get to the next part when we get to fares. So the next route is the Round Rock Circulator. It's Route 51. This route was designed to get folks out, mostly to get folks out into the, over by Seton, the Women's Medical Center, all of the medical facilities and offices over at Wyoming Springs and Park Valley Drive. It is also designed to come by the Round Rock High School, hit the Housing Authority, Arcel, which is, right across the street from us here. It will also run shortly on Mays and cut across on Logan, School Days, Lane. So over there it will hit Success High School, Clay Matson Recreation Center. It'll get you over to Dell, the Walmart, the Target, all of that other fun stuff that's right over there at Lewis Henna Boulevard and 35.
So does it go the same direction, makes a loop in the ends, then it goes back and makes stops at all the places?
Yes. So all the stops and routes that you see are considered what they call bi-directional. So if we have one that started over here, we'll have another one that starts on this end over here. So you'll have your north and south running and crossing each other.
So will there be stops on each side of the street, or just?
Yes. The only place that there will not be stops on each side of the street are the circles you see.
Right.
We'll only run in that one direction. Especially the one that's going to be right there by Walmart. There's not really, the Target just doesn't have the space on that side. And the way the route is designed, it will only be traveling westbound right there in front of that Walmart. So
when does this one run?
this one will also run Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
And will that make it stop there on Lewis Henna?
Yes, it will. I'm working with TxDOT right now to establish that stop, because that's there right away.
You said every hour? Will it be every hour?
Yes, it will be every hour. And that's, in the master plan, the first recommendation just to launch the service was what they call headway, which means the bus comes to the bus stop every hour. One of the next steps in the plan is increasing it to every 30 minutes. That requires more buses, which also requires more drivers. And so even though the city will be contracting that service, it will still cost us to have that. So during this initial phase for the first couple of years, y'all probably see my smiling face on the bus quite a bit, because I'll be out there wanting to talk to folks, see how it's running, and have continual feedback. The more I hear from y'all, the more I know what you need and want out of this. And the more I hear from that, and the more your council hears from that, then we get to expand, and we get to have quicker service, and we get to have all that other fun stuff. So
what is the ridership goal then to move from hourly to 30 minutes?
we did not set goals to make that happen. This is happening in part to y'all and everybody else in the city of Round Rock. I heard over and over and over again, we need buses, and I finally said, call your council. You're lucky you have a council that actually really cares what y'all think and what you want. And I know the Chamber of Commerce pushed it because they have businesses asking for it. So, that citizen push and our economic push is what got us here. So, I don't have a set thing. It'll just be one of those gauges. It's like, okay, well, this time, I've got people on the bus, we've got decent ridership numbers, and I hear we want more frequent service. So, all right. The next two routes are designed for our commuters. The first one, the Round Rock Reverse Commute, is Route 52. It will start at Tech Ridge Park and Ride, which is a Capital Metro property, and it will serve the businesses in the southwest quadrant of SH 45 and 130, Michelangelo's, Liquidation Channel. That's kind of where some of our manufacturing stuff is here in the city. It'll also serve the Art Institute and the Round Rock Transit Center. Now, one important thing to note about this route is even though it is starting in Tech Ridge, if you want to get on this route and go to Tech Ridge in the morning, it's also bi-directional, so you will be able to board at the Transit Center and then go down, straight down to Tech Ridge. Well, straight down after it makes its little loop over there by Michelangelo's and Liquidation Channel. This one will have 2 peak time runs in the morning and then 2 in the afternoon. And I think I left those papers on my desk. But I know if you go to roundrocktexas.gov/transit, all of this information is on there with the times that I know of right now. There's also an electronic feedback form on that website, so if you prefer to do that instead of writing on my old-fashioned paper, you're welcome to do that as well. The last route is the Round Rock Express extension. That number is Route 980. It is completely different from our numbering scheme because this route will be operated completely by Capital Metro. Capital Metro was starting their own new park and ride at the New Life Church down near Howard and Mopac. This route will be using the managed lanes of Mopac. As soon as CTRMA, your regional mobility authority in the area, as soon as they open those lanes, this route will start within 2 weeks to 1 month after they open it. So this route is an exception to the first 3 that we were already talking about. So if the managed lanes are open on June 1, this route could start as early as June 15. If the managed lanes are open on June 15, it could start as early as July 1st. That information, obviously, as soon as we know, the City of Round Rock and Capital Metro will be doing joint press releases and marketing to let folks know that that route is starting.
Do we know what times?
The times for that one will also be 2 peak. Let me get my phone because I have them on that website. Oops. Okay, so the one we're looking at right now, Route 980, it will leave in the mornings at 5:44 and 6:46. In the afternoon, you'll get back to the Transit Center at 5:07 and 6:12. So that's your typical So once it leaves at 5:44 from our transit center, it will make one stop at this New Life Church Park and Ride, and then it'll head down the MOPAC managed lanes. And they've changed, with all the development and stuff going on in downtown Austin, they've changed the direction some of those things are. So once you're down there, it'll take you through your main core of downtown and to the UT campus. The northbound routes will also return you up the managed lanes. So that should definitely decrease your travel time as opposed to, taking an express route down 35.
So this route is really for commuters?
It is for commuters, right. And we heard from everybody that you wanted a constant connection to Austin, which is why we established the Route 50, that we didn't stop it within the jurisdictional boundaries of Round Rock, that we took it down to that Metro Rail station. So that folks, that anytime you want to get downtown, y'all can do that.
So the estimated travel time on this one from the transit center to downtown Austin is about how long?
I will have to find out and get back with you on that one. And Capital Metro may not even know right now either, because we haven't been able to make any practice runs down the managed lanes.
I was just comparing with that with the Metro Rail from the Metro Center to downtown. What the time difference is between those two?
Okay.
Oh, it's gotta be quicker. It has to be quicker. It has to be like
Then the Metro Rail?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long it takes the Metro
Oh,
Rail to get downtown.
I've done it like 5 times. It goes off the East Austin,
Wanders around everywhere.
wanders around everywhere, across where the traffic is, yeah.
Yeah, I can find out if Capital Metro has any estimates on that, but like I said, they may not, because nobody, we can't make that straight run yet. You can only get on the managed lane for about this long. So.
Does 52 run?
Okay, so 52, the Tech Ridge route that we just talked about. So it will leave Tech Ridge in the mornings at 6:15 and 7:15, at 4:15 p.m. and 5:15 p.m. It will leave, if y'all need me to repeat this, just let me know. It will leave the Round Rock Transit Center at 6:45 a.m., 7:45 a.m., 4:45 p.m., and 5:45 p.m. So that right there tells you that route's about 30 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So as a comment, I just kind of want to say that it's a little rough for the 20 to 30-year-old set driving a bus that only goes to like 7 p.m. because most people in their 20s use the bus so they can go out and drink and then get home safe. So that's a little rough. Just putting it out there. Other question, can my dog go on the bus?
The dogs are not allowed unless they're a service animal. And that's true for Capital Metro as well.
How about bikes?
Yes, all of the buses will have bike racks.
On the train?
And I completely understand wanting to take it to go do, hang out and have fun and not worry about driving back. Saturday service, again, is one of those expansions of service that will be looked at and analyzed as we move forward. Again, adding and or improving anything on this initial service will be a drive of demand and council's approval.
And that
Because it'll cost me more, it'll cost the city more money, which means I have to ask council for more money.
so the Route 50 is also until 6:30?
Yes. Now, however, I don't know what, for, that crowd, and I may be, you can, if you take it, and you can still use Capital Metro service to get you back to that Howard Rail station and then pick up, one of the transit, networks. We don't have Uber and Lyft, but you do have Ride Austin.
We do?
We do here. So I don't know if they could go to the Howard station now. But you do have those options and things of that nature. So if you really wanted to make it work that way, then it could work that way. All right. So now, of course, everybody always wants to know what's it going to cost me to get on the bus. The local fares you see on top are for routes 50, 51, and the commuter routes fares you see are for 52 and 980. These fares, as you see them, mirror what Capital Metro system charges. Having been in this industry for a little over the last 8 years, I've been to a lot of conferences, made a lot of contacts with a lot of transit agencies across the U.S. And some of those I've attended, I always take public transportation. And I can tell you, I don't know how they've done it, but Capital Metro has kept their fares low. I got on the bus one time in Denver and they wanted $2.75 and I was going about 5-6 blocks. I was like, never mind, I'll walk.
Cheaper take a cab.
Yes, yes.
The
So,
$3.50, for example, on a single ride commuter, if I get on the Round Rock Transit Center and go to downtown Austin, that's $3.50 or $3.50 round trip
that is $3.50
to go down one way.
just to go down, yes. And well, that's the commuter route as well. So if you get on Route 50 and go to the Metro rail station, it's only going to cost you $1.25.
I guess what I'm saying is the rates are one way.
Yes, one way.
So if I'm taking on the local stuff, if I'm taking a bus from over by the hospital down to Walmart, it's going to cost me $1.25 one way and $1.25 the other way.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you get the day pass, right?
Yes, you can buy the day pass for $2.50.
You can ride all you want there.
Yeah, it's the same price, but then, so like if you get on the route over here, right on Round Rock West, you hop on the 50, you go to the outlet mall, and then you stop downtown to eat, or you need to drop off your utility bill, or, you pop over to La Frontera and then come back and, so.
I can get off and on however many times I want.
However many times you want. Now, the 31-day passes offer your biggest discount, and they are not managed by calendar days. It is managed by, today I swiped my pass, that's 1 day. A week later, I get on the bus, swipe my pass, that's 2 days. So, if you buy the 31-day pass and it takes you 2 months to use all 31 days, well, then it takes you 2 months to use all 31 days.
I go 4 times I gain 8 months.
Right, yeah, but however it works. And there is a significant discount on that one if you plan on being a frequent bus rider. The reduced fares are offered to seniors 65 and over, any person with a disability, military personnel with an ID, students with an ID, or any person with a Medicare ID. Now, those three where it says ID, they can board and just show that ID, and you automatically get the reduced fare. For the seniors and folks with a disability, and the ones that can show their ID, you'll come into the transit center, you'll fill out the quick reduced fare application, we'll look at it, we'll issue you a reduced fare card. That card is going to cost you a one-time fee of $3 unless you lose it. And if you lose it, well, actually I haven't really set a policy if you lose it, so I guess for right now all I can say is I would charge you another $3.
So these prices are just for the Round Rock half of it. So if you go to that transit center and you get on that train, you pay for the train as well.
If you buy the 31-day pass, Capital Metro will honor a Round Rock 31-day pass on every piece of their system.
That's nice. That's great.
If you know somebody that lives in Austin and they buy a Capital Metro 31-day pass, the Round Rock system will honor that pass as if it were their own.
Does that include the commuter?
Yes. The local and the commuter, the 31-day pass.
So you have to buy the commuter pass.
If you buy the commuter pass, it's good for everything.
Okay.
If you buy only the local pass, it's only good for the routes that are local.
Okay. So only the commuter pass is good for Cap Metro as well? Or?
No, so is the local pass. We're honoring both 31-day passes.
Okay.
So if you buy a Round Rock local 31-day pass, it'll be honored on Capital Metro routes. If you buy the commuter pass, then it will be also honored on both as well.
So The reason I ask is that, you know, the longer, the one downtown is also a Cat Metro route, but that's separate from the rest of them.
Okay, so the Route 980, the city is paying for the portion from our transit center to the New Life Transit Center. So we are paying for that portion of the route. Actually, Michelle and I, my counterpart at Cat Metro, we started talking about this. We're like, how exactly is that going to work? Maybe we should just say that's a Capital Metro route and you buy a Cat Metro pass. But their prices are the same as these. Our initial fares are an exact mirror of what Capital Metros are right now.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering how that, which Cat Metro ones would count as local and which ones would be commuter.
For Cat Metro, I know they just simplified their fare structure. For them, their locals are the number 1 North Lamar, the 952, which runs between the Howard Rail Station and Tech Ridge. They have so many of them.
Okay. I was just wondering if they were also split. So.
Yeah, they are as well.
So I ride the train pretty regularly. You have to buy it on your phone now. You have to. They don't take a credit card anymore.
Right.
And so you buy a pass. So if you got a 31-day pass, this one right here, commuter, 31-day pass, I had it on here. It would just take 1 day off every time I used it, and I could ride all of Cap Metro buses and Metro Rail.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, that's a great deal.
You brought up a great point, something I probably need to check with Michelle on too. So there have been discussions. Cap Metro has an app, and we are currently talking with IT, their IT department, to have our stuff available in their app. I don't know if that's going to work. Of course, we'll be letting everybody know when we start, like really going, hey, so we're starting service on such and such day. Find us on the app, find us on the web, all of that other fun stuff. But you bring up a good point with the change at the Metro rail stations where, they've totally changed that, where you can't use a credit card to buy, and how are our passes that are reciprocated, how's that going to work?
I guess it'll be just a barcode that pops up, and you just, because the other day I was on the train, the guy came by and he said, let me see your ticket, and I just pulled it up and he zapped it. And so if you have 31 days, if you buy a 31-day pass, I thought it was good for, February or January 15th to February 15th.
Yeah, they've changed it.
Okay, that's great.
So that it's a true 31-day pass, and when you buy that pass, it's loaded that way.
Okay.
So when you swipe that pass, it just takes that day off.
It takes a year to use it.
Yep.
Great.
We hope you ride it more than that, but yeah, you could take that long. All right. So as a component of any fixed route system, you have to, by federal law, and I'd want to anyway because that's just me, provide what is called ADA paratransit service. ADA being the Americans with Disabilities Act. The paratransit service will, each bus stop that y'all saw on the 2 local routes, Route 50 and Route 51, within a minimum of a 3/4 mile radius from each stop, I have to provide curb-to-curb service to persons that qualify under the federal rules, a door-to-door, curb-to-curb or a door-to-door service. By curb-to-curb, I mean I would come by and I would stop right in front of your house, pick you up, and take you to your destination. It does operate like the demand response bus service we have today. However, what we have today will transform into this paratransit service. So there will be a whole entire eligibility process. There's an application for that. More than likely, you'll have an interview with me over the phone or in person, depending on what I see in your application you submit to me. And if you're approved, then you would be able to use that paratransit service. Now, say, okay, I've got a disability and I just can't walk the 5 blocks to the bus stop, but I'm totally capable of using the buses. Well, we can do an eligibility for that where, you'd be picked up in front of your house and, say, taken to the transit center or your nearest bus stop, and for you to, get on the regular fixed route and use that. All of that will be determined on a case-by-case basis. And behind this particular page is the whole plan. I'm not going to bore you and read through it. Y'all feel free to thumb through it if you need to. If you have any questions on that, give me a call. The application is the last piece of that plan. It's still in development. I haven't quite stolen all the information from all the other transit systems that already have this yet to give me an application I like. So I'm not recreating it, I'm borrowing information. And that is that. Does anybody have any specific questions or concerns about the paratransit plan? No? Okay.
Wow, quite a bunch.
So I probably went through that a little quickly. I know I'm your only speaker tonight, and pretty sure maybe all of us don't want to be here a long time. So take your packets home. Feel free, please, to reach out to me with any questions you have on the service. You can use the form online. You can use the paper form you've got there in front of you. And this whole packet is also online, so you can click to open up the PDF and zoom in where you want to zoom into and all that other fun stuff. So thank you for having me. And
Okay, so been coming a long time trying to get buses around here. Everybody's been talking about it for a while, so it looks like we're almost there. We've grown to the point to where we need it, and with the opening of ACC and the growth of St. David's Medical Center and the growth of the Southeast Quadrant.
And I should say, I'm extremely excited to bring this to Town Line. I've been hearing about it for years from the public, and so I'm super excited, and I hope everybody else is too, that all the people that I've talked to over the years, that we're all like, woohoo! Oh, one more thing, I'm sorry. The first week of service, when it does launch, will be completely fare-free. So everybody will be able to get out, get on the buses, check out the system, and it won't cost you a dime.
When
Late summer.
Late summer.
Yes, ma'am.
Have to get through all their open houses.
Summer is like my official, because I can't tie myself down to a date yet because I don't know what it is. I have a good idea, so we'll just go with late summer.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for all the good info.
Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Any plans to get any type of bus service like across the state? Like say from Dallas, from northern Texas to anything like that? I hate the I-35 corridor. I would not drive that. If I liked it, I don't want to drive that.
I don't blame you, it's a nightmare. The interstate, within the state, and if you want to travel out of the state, that bus service is Greyhound.
Megabus is supposed to be great.
Megabus, if you're going to a specific destination and you have a large enough group to pull a charter, you've got Star Shuttle and Charter. They operate our demand response, but they also have a charter division. And Mike, what's the name of the one out going towards Taylor? I can't think of it, but there's...
You're talking about the little small on-demand bus service?
No, not carts.
I was thinking
There's another
carts is what I was
charter
thinking.
company out there.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't think of the name. But there's a couple charter, groups.
Rail service, that's
You don't hold your breath on any rail service, okay?
Yeah, not in this area.
Not in our lifetime. Okay? Us Texans like to get in our big SUVs and drive them down the road, okay?
There you go.
And rail services are going to be billions and billions and billions of dollars, and nobody wants to spend that tax money yet. And,
Yeah, we can do the gondolas, remember that?
Right?
yeah. We could have the big dig in Boston, you know, see how that turned out.
Rail is extremely expensive. Lone Star Rail has been unsuccessful. Most of the rail lines here are owned by
UP,
UP, Union Pacific Railroad.
fourth branch of the federal government and the most powerful.
Right? And, so for rail to really exist without trying to share a line with Union Pacific means laying rail. And
Money.
it is extremely expensive.
And I've gone to so many rail hearings in the past 15 years that I'm blue in the face. I mean, I don't want to even hear the word rail. It's just not going to happen.
And what about our silent crossings? Where is that?
Now that's close.
Yes.
We're real close on that one. We should have those by the end of this year. Really? We should have it wrapped up real close to the end of this year.
So they won't be.
No, see, they're waiting. This is where Union Pacific comes in, where we have our hands tied by the city's ready to go.
We've been ready.
They've been ready for a long time, but they're waiting on contracts to get back from Union Pacific. Well, they get on somebody's desk at Union Pacific and they sit there for 6 months.
We've been waiting on those for a long time.
Long time. So we're waiting on Union Pacific. Once they say go, cities, they got shovels ready to go.
Yes, it is super close, close.
Narrow lines. Anyway, I was wondering actually if the city had looked into any of the more non-traditional forms of mass transit that have come out lately. There was one that was pretty... No, the gondolas thing reminded me of it, but there was one that was...
We did see a gondola presentation at City Council.
There was, I was that.
The mayor likes it.
There's one that there are a couple cities around the world that are putting in. That's basically it kind of sounds like a gondola, but it's these little pods. They're solar powered,
I've seen
and they
that.
go on a rail above, and it's pretty cheap and it
Yes.
pays for itself with the solar and everything.
I have seen that. Not any plans for it. I mean, I keep my eye out on all of that stuff. And there's always new things being developed. And you just never know.
I just heard it's and the footprint is small, so that's why I thought it might be.
Yes,
I don't know about
actually, I
around
have
that.
several articles saved on that.
Yeah.
It may not be nearly as windy over there as it is here. though.
Yeah, that's
You know
the
what might
challenge.
be a good place to do that is from downtown to Kalahari to the Old Settlers Park and maybe out that
The
way.
recreation areas.
You don't need to buy up any real estate really, because it's suspended.
Yeah, it's just basically a pole.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
So, everybody, how many of you are on Nextdoor website? Okay. You know, I haven't met Vic Haley yet. I need to go find Vic Haley because he obviously is not educated on some of this stuff, because this card they sent out that people are getting, did someone lose a dog, free, kids buy, car break-in, see anything, babysitter needed, garage sale. They've been around 2 years. We've been doing this for 10 years in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get on our email list, okay? And it's a very protected email list. You don't get a bunch of junk email. You don't get a bunch of want ads and all that. So if you're not getting our regular neighborhood emails, make sure you leave me your email address and tell your neighbors about it, because we've been finding lost dogs and cats for 10 years now, and keys and cockatoos and turtles and you name it. We've lost it and found it.
We have the chicken.
A chicken, we had lost and found chickens, so I mean, we found...
If you have any of those, call me and I'll take them home to my farm.
We have our email, but then there's two neighborhood, and remember, Facebook pages are, a person sets it up and they administer it. We have no control over it, but there are two pretty active Facebook pages in the neighborhood. Between that and our email system is pretty good, with pretty good coverage. We also have a Facebook neighborhood watch page that fortunately hardly ever gets used because we do live in a pretty safe neighborhood, but it's for immediate threat issues. It's something like after you call 911, then you can go on Facebook, say there's a guy driving down the street shooting a gun. You don't go to Facebook first and then call 911. It's that kind of thing. So fortunately we never have to use it, but it's there, and we used it once in case of a possible flood event when we were getting some pretty heavy rains, telling people down by the creek to watch out, things like that. So we're active in this neighborhood, and if you're not getting our emails, give me your email address, we'll get you on it, and so forth.
Real quick, I did give you the transportation main number and not my transit number. It's 7074.
I would look it up a minute ago, but I didn't want to correct you.
Yes, I'm absolutely positive. I even looked myself up.
Okay, anything else? If not, thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate it.